Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'du fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. In a small village, there lived a humble farmer named Umur. He worked his modest plot of land growing crops to feed his family and local community. One year, a drought threatened to destroy his harvest and the village's primary food source. Despite his own struggles, Umur decided to share what little water he had stored with his neighbors, ensuring that everyone could at least grow food to survive. To him, this is what Allah would have wanted from him. Word of Umur's selflessness spread far and wide. Inspired by his act of kindness, a local lady named Layla devised an innovative irrigation system that could collect and distribute water more efficiently. Layla's invention did more than just save crops. It transformed the village's way of life. Children who once spent hours fetching water from distant wells now had time to attend school, where they learned to read, write, and dream of better futures. One of these children, a boy named Farid, grew up fascinated by the stories of Umur and Layla. Determined to make his own contribution, he pursued a career in medicine. Years later, as a skilled doctor, Farid returned to his village, where he established a clinic, providing much-needed healthcare to the community. The overall health and well-being of the community improved dramatically, leading to longer, healthier lives for everyone. As time passed, the village continued to thrive, all thanks to a single act of kindness that had set off a chain reaction of positive contributions. Each person's efforts and generosity, inspired by the previous one, created a ripple effect that extended far beyond what anyone could have imagined. The children of the community grew up to be lawyers, engineers, doctors, statesmen, diplomats, scientists, and humanitarians, all ready to serve. This story highlights the profound importance of contribution to mankind. It shows how one individual's selflessness can inspire others, leading to innovations and improvements that benefit entire communities. From Umur's generous spirit to Layla's ingenuity and Farid's dedication, each contribution built upon the last, creating a legacy of progress and compassion. In our interconnected world, the contributions of individuals have the power to transform societies. These contributions are the building blocks of a better future for all. Each of us has the potential to be a part of this ripple effect, making a lasting impact on humanity. Now, this story is not an actual true story, but it very well could be a true story. It could very well be taking place in any part of the world. It is the cornerstone of Islamic values, kindness and a connection to Allah. Yet these value systems are lacking, and they appear to be lacking in much of the Muslim world. In short, Jamā Ahmadiyya's contribution to the world is tied to the essence of this story. We are trying in our limited ways to provide services to the world that will, inshallah, have ripple effects that lift humanity and lift spirituality. Ultimately, we are guided by the promised Messiah, alayhi salam, our khulafa, and directed by the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to exemplify Islamic values. We are the torchbearers in setting the example, and ultimately, this is our contribution to the Ummah. We are the community to lead other Muslim countries and to repair the issues of political instability, economic disparity, sectarian division, extremism and radicalization, human rights and governance issues, low education and knowledge, and issues with integration and anti-Muslim sentiment. Jamā has now been around for over 135 years, and in that short time, Jamā Ahmadiyya has done what we can to counter the issues that are in front of the Ummah. As such, the Jamā has become an embodiment of the values and the solutions to the problems that confront the Ummah. Now, what is it that we've done? In this short period of our existence, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamā has advocated for, 1, the promotion of peace and a need for understanding, 2, has promoted education and educational initiatives. 3, has, with what little resources we have, provided humanitarian efforts around the world. 4, we have produced a vast array of publication and literature. 5, we have provided social services for our own members and others around the world. And 6, we have provided health services. And these are just to name a few. An almost line-by-line comparison of the issues I just previously mentioned that confront the Ummah and what Jamā does can lead to the eradication of the problems facing the Ummah. It's actually that simple. To better understand our services for the cause of the Ummah, let us explore the teachings of the Holy Quran, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and our beloved Imam, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed, may Allah strengthen his hands. I will then provide context on how a blessed member of the Jamāat who took lead from the Holy Quran, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the promised Messiah alayhi salam, to be a shining example of these teachings. I speak of no other than Chaudhry Zulfullah Khan Sahib. Let us first examine some of the key Quranic examples that provide instruction on conduct. I will present 4 verses. The first verse is on the promotion of justice. It is from chapter 4, verse 136, and I'll read the translation. O ye who believe, be strict in observing justice, and be witness for Allah, even though it be against yourself or against parents and kindred. Here the Holy Quran is emphasizing that justice is a cornerstone of peace. And this verse emphasizes the importance of upholding justice in all circumstances, meaning against oneself, one's own community members, and even family members. The second verse speaks of reconciliation and forgiveness. Its translation reads as, and the recompense of an injury is an injury the like thereof. But whoso forgives and his act brings about reformation, his reward is with Allah. Surely he loves not the wrongdoers. Holy Quran, chapter 42, verse 41. Here, the Quran encourages forgiveness and reconciliation over adverse punishment, highlighting the virtue of true mercy. The third verse speaks of respect for diversity. Its translation reads as, O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, and we have made you into tribes and sub-tribes that you may recognize one another. Verily, the most honorable among you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous among you. Surely Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. Holy Quran, chapter 49, verse 14. This verse promotes understanding and respect among diverse peoples and cultures, which is essential for peaceful coexistence. The verse exemplifies that there is no class or race distinction in front of God, and the verse articulates real democracy. The fourth verse addresses avoidance of hostility. Its translation reads as, and good and evil are not alike. Repel evil with that which is best. And lo, he between whom and thyself was enmity will become as though he were a warm friend. Holy Quran, chapter 41, verse 35. Here the Quran advises responding to hostility with good deeds and to transform enmity, or rather hate, into friendship, promoting peace through positive actions. In summary, the Holy Quran provides a comprehensive guide to establishing and upholding peace in the world. It emphasizes justice, forgiveness, and reconciliation as fundamental principles for maintaining harmony and resolving conflicts. By promoting respect for human life, encouraging peaceful coexistence, and advocating for justice, the Quran lays down a framework for a peaceful and just society. These teachings are not only relevant to Muslims, but also offer universal values that can contribute to global peace and understanding. I can't help but to say that if these Quranic principles were followed in its true spirits all over the world today, the injustices that we see in countries like Sudan, Ukraine, Russia, and especially the Holy Lands would simply not exist. The Quran is a perfect book with perfect lessons. Now, how did the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam apply the perfect text to real-life examples? The following are some key sayings and occurrences from his life that emphasize peace, justice, and compassion. Muaz bin Anas, may God be pleased with him, related that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "The height of excellence is that you should strengthen the ties of relationship with the one who severs them, and be generous to the one who is miserly to you, and be forgiving to the one who abuses you." Think about this advice and how much the world and our own family relations would be vastly improved if we actually followed these instructions. The next saying is narrated by Hazrat Anas, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet of Allah, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Help your brother, be he the oppressor or the oppressed." The companion said, "O Prophet of Allah, we understand that we should help him when he is the aggrieved party, but how should we help him when he is the wrongdoer?" He said, "Hold his hand." Our beloved Master also taught us to have compassion even for the one who's against us. A third saying chosen here is narrated by Hazrat Tariq bin Shihab, may Allah be pleased with him. While the Prophet of Allah, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was setting forth on a journey, a person inquired of him, which form of jihad is the best? He said, "The word of truth to the wrongdoing ruler." Amazing advice. Let those leaders and rulers know that they are wrong and to follow the truer path. We would have a peaceful and better world if the nation's leaders of today would have this courage to tell the oppressing countries and the oppressing leaders the truth about the path that they have taken. The last saying to illustrate further is narrated by Hazrat Abu Darda, may Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet of Allah, may peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "Nothing weighs heavier in the scale of God than the excellence of conduct." These are beautiful words to live by, beautiful words to govern ourselves by. In addition to these narrations, there are three events from the time of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that are profound in their lessons to us and provide deeper retrospect on the themes of justice, fairness, compassion, and governance. The first is the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. The treaty was a peace agreement between the Muslims and the Quraysh tribe of Mecca. Although the terms were initially unfavorable to the Muslims, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted them to avoid conflict and establish long-term peace. The treaty relinquished immediate benefit for more established future benefits. This was authentic diplomacy. The second is the conquest of Mecca. When Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers peacefully conquered Mecca, he declared a general amnesty for his former enemies, declaring, "No blame shall lie on you this day, and may Allah forgive you, and He is the most merciful of those who show mercy." This act of forgiveness and mercy helped to reconcile the people and establish peace in the region. And the third is the Constitution of Medina. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam established the Constitution of Medina, a social contract that ensured cooperation and coexistence amongst diverse communities in Medina, including Muslims, the Jewish people, and other tribes. This document promoted justice, mutual respect, unity, religious freedom, and collective responsibility. This was a true practice of sincere governance for all. Imagine how the world would be if nations applied this principle today. The teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam provide a comprehensive framework for establishing peace in the world. Through his emphasis on justice, compassion, forgiveness, and respect of life, he laid down principles that promote harmony. His life and actions serve as a model for achieving lasting peace and coexistence in society. A true Muslim should see from the Holy Quran and the Hadith that Islam encompasses virtues of justice, compassion, peace, and respect. However, who in the Ummah is leading the charge? Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmed, our beloved Khalifa, and may Allah strengthen his hands, has said at the first National Peace Symposium in Canada in 2016, rather, we are following the original teachings of Islam as prescribed by the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those noble teachings can be summed up in just two lines: to love your Creator and fulfill His rights, and to love His creation and to fulfill their rights. Thus, Muslims are taught to show love, compassion, and kindness to all of God's creation, especially to humanity, which Allah has deemed as the best of creation. It is absolutely true that we, Ahmadi Muslims, are peace-loving and seek to build bridges of love and hope between different religions and different communities. However, this is not because we have deviated from Islam or modernized it in any shape or form. Rather, it is because we follow Islam's authentic teachings. Huzur has continually emphasized these values over and over again. Is the world listening? Is the Ummah paying attention? Huzur is doing the heavy lifting. He has made addresses to parliaments, written letters to world leaders, given addresses at mosque inaugurations around the world, delivered words of wisdom at national peace symposiums in the UK and various Jalsa Salanas around the world. We need to loudly amplify these words to the world and its leaders.
محسن इंसानियत गुलाम अहमद की इंसानियत नाराए तकबीर.
Some further remarks from Huzur's addresses that we need to bring more attention to is one, Huzur said, if we truly want peace to be established in the world, then we need to treat each other with justice and equality. Only then can we hope for a lasting peace. And two, an address at Canada's National Parliament in Ottawa in 2016, Huzur said, nonetheless, irrespective of differences of background, I believe that on the basis of humanity, we are all joined together and should therefore be united. All people and all organizations must collectively endeavor to uphold human values and strive to make the world in which we live a better and far more harmonious place. Consequently, if human values and human rights are not upheld in one country or region, it has a knock-on effect upon other parts of the world, and such wrongdoing can spread further afield. Conversely, if there is goodness, humanity, and prosperity in one part of the world, it will have a positive effect on other societies and other people. Huzur's vision for a peaceful world is rooted in Quranic justice, compassion, and mutual respect. His teachings and efforts come from Islam and aim to address the root causes of conflict and promote a holistic approach to peace that includes economic justice, environmental stewardship, and the promotion of moral and spiritual values. His words continue to inspire efforts towards achieving global peace and harmony. This is the service to the Ummah, and it is the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamā that is beating the drum. We did not invent it. Huzur is re-emphasizing what the Holy Quran and our beloved Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have taught us. We are lucky to have a Khalifa that leads us continually and reminds us on what is right and how we should think about current issues and how to address current problems. We are the gifted, but it does not forgo our duties to try and be champions for world peace and harmony. Our collective speech will vibrate to those leaders who can affect change. We all need to do our part. Ultimately, we know that Huzur will guide us and provide context and remind us on what messages we need to deliver. This is the ultimate service to the Ummah, to carry Huzur's words everywhere. This is our job. We have to take Huzur's words to all corners and to all leaders. May Allah continue to give our Pyare Huzur good health and strengthen his hands to carry out all this work in front of him and provide the necessary help, hopefully that we can as well. Another way in which we can help is to raise personalities amongst us who will be the ultimate statesmen and help bring the world to the straight path, a just path, a human path. The shining example from among us in this regard of echoing the words of justice and humanity as inspired by Islam was the late Chaudhry Zarfullah Khan Sahib. May Allah be blessed with him, pleased with him. Sir Zarfullah Khan was a diplomatic, a human rights, and a justice authority. When I read about him, I'm simply amazed at what he did and what he accomplished. And all of his wisdom came from the understanding of Islam and his attachment to the promised Messiah alayhi salam and to Khilafat. Briefly, here's a list of the contributions of his on the international stage. While at the United Nations, Zarfullah Khan Sahib was a passionate advocate for decolonization and self-determination, for many countries, which played a significant role in influencing global opinion and policy. As the President of the United Nations General Assembly during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Zarfullah Khan played a crucial role in mediating between the United States and the Soviet Union. His calm and diplomatic demeanor, along with his ability to understand and articulate both sides' positions, helped ease tensions and contributed to a peaceful resolution of one of the most dangerous confrontations of the Cold War. Zarfullah Khan was deeply involved in the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. He was instrumental in shaping the document, which has become a cornerstone of international human rights law. He served as a judge and then later as the elected president at the International Court of Justice. His legal opinions and judgments often reflected a deep understanding of international law, and he was admired for his legal creativity. Of course, as a devout member of the Jamā, he used his international influence to advocate for religious freedom and tolerance. He creatively incorporated religious principles into his diplomatic work, promoting peace and understanding among different faiths. Zarfullah Khan was a strong advocate for the Palestinian people at the United Nations. His creative use of legal and moral arguments helped draw international attention to their plight. His speeches and diplomatic efforts highlighted the historical and ethical dimensions of the Palestinian struggle, contributing to the broader movement for their rights. Till this day, there perhaps is no one at the international stage who has addressed this issue more precisely and eloquently. Another way to understand the wisdom that Allah bestowed upon Zarfullah Khan is from two following narrations. First, in a reply to a Dutch minister on the topic of why Pakistanis cared for the freedom of Indonesians, Zarfullah Khan said, "That is the mistake you people go on making all the time. You do not seem to realize that if any of you do that kind of thing to any of us, our reactions are exactly the same as if you had done it to us. Once you realize that, it may be easier to work out solutions. There is nothing artificial about that. It is our blood. We are all one, and we are all race blind and color blind. It does not make any difference what a person's color is and what his race is. Blood is not the line which divides humanity. Indeed, there are no lines. We are all human beings, and we cannot see why one section should continue to dominate over another section. Why the West cannot understand this is very surprising to us." And second, in 1952, during Morocco's fight for the independence from French rule, the Sultan of the time sent Ahmed Balafrage to address the United Nations Security Council. The French delegates denied him the right to speak. In a remarkable move, the then Pakistan Foreign Minister, Sir Zarfullah Khan, opened the Pakistani embassy in the middle of the night in the United States, granting Balafrage Pakistani nationality. With a Pakistani passport, Balafrage addressed the United Nations the next day, boosting Morocco's independence movement. In 1956, after Morocco gained independence, the Sultan appointed Balafrage as Prime Minister, who proudly displayed his framed Pakistani passport in his office. What an incredible and innovative solution to promote what was right. Chaudhry Zarfullah Khan's creative contributions to international diplomacy and law were characterized by his eloquence, deep understanding of global issues, and an ability to navigate complex political landscapes. His legacy continues to inspire diplomats and leaders around the world. Now, we know where his wisdom came from. He was a true embodiment of Islamic wisdom, and his service on the international, political, judicial, and diplomatic stage is second to none in the Islamic world. This is the service of the Jamā to the Ummah and the need of the time. As I close, I would like to provide one message to all of us. That is, we can simply not just rely on the addresses of Huzur and the memories of Chaudhry Zarfullah Khan. We need to raise more brave members from among our youth in the service of the Muslim Ummah. We need more of the likes of Chaudhry Zarfullah Khan, who will devour Islamic wisdom and teachings and take the words of our beloved Imam and multiply it around the world. It is my prayer, and I hope your prayer, that from amongst us will be the new breed of international diplomats and leaders who will serve Jamā proudly, serve the Ummah proudly, and more importantly, serve the world stage proudly. Jazakallah, Ameen.
नारे तकबीर हजरत मोहम्मद मुस्तफ़ा